The 19th of August 2025. You're welcome back to Real True Education, not fake news. This is on the whole migrant, immigrant, is radical Islam and all of that, and the state of Britain and Ireland and the world. Now there's big news. In Epping in England, the Bell Hotel was earmarked for taking in a lot of migrants who arrived on the boat. They arrive on the boat, they immediately get full unemployment benefit, and they're entitled to houses and according to the European Court of Justice, and they house them in the best hotels there are. The council took a case and won. The judge ruled rightly that it was a hotel. You couldn't turn it into a migrant centre, which is a totally different thing. Irish law was amended a bit. I didn't get studying it. We may have to study it a bit more. I'm not so sure if it's the same ruling would stand in Ireland, but it's something that needs to be looked at. Now, this means that they either have to be got out of there or the government have to appeal. The government tried to get an injunction to stop the judge from doing it, and the court hearing the injunction said no. He threw it out, or she threw it out, I don't know. This puts the British government in a bad bind. As you know, Britain is currently being run by a World Economic Forum globalist puppet of the World Economic Forum, Keir Starmer, who is out to absolutely destroy Britain. In many council areas, flying the Union flag is banned. And worse again, in more of them, flying the English flag, the George's Cross flag, is outlawed in England. All to say it might cause annoyance or it might cause upset. Don't forget, Theresa May, the Conservative Prime Minister, wouldn't allow the Catholic woman Assie Bibi into Britain because she said it might offend Muslims. Okay. Now, in Crowley, which is not a Labour area, it's in the northwest of England, the amount of migrants in the last 9 months since Starmer took over is up 128%. In other words, for every 100 that came before, now 128 come. In Camden, Starmer's own area, it's only up 24% on a very low base. In Westminster, where the Parliament is, it's down minus 24%. That's where the MPs are. So we can see that they're dumping the migrants wherever they think they'll be taken and wherever it doesn't annoy the very rich and famous people and the nice areas of London and the tourist areas and the areas where the MPs and the lords, noble lords and the judges might see them. Keep them out of the way, out of sight, out of mind. Now, in some areas, they're now teaching jihadi in school, and the Muslims are defending it, saying jihadi is not necessarily a violent word, but still it is used by terrorists when they're about to cut somebody's head off on the jihadi thing. Now, my point is the Muslims, and we can debate this, have they a right to want their Muslim religion taught in schools to ordinary children, to their children? Probably yes. Are they right to teach terrorism? No, and they'll deny they do it. But do they have a right to teach Irish kids about it? I'm not so sure. The question is, why are they here at all? In my way, they'd be horsed home, unless they're properly in here by a legal system. That's a different thing. But if this is what is developing in areas and what they're trying to do in areas like Epping, in Crowley, it's trying to turn the normal English conservative vote and way of thinking into jihadi, into a totally foreign religion. Why that is, I don't know, but that's the way it is. Now, the thing is, jihadi means struggle. They say it's an internal struggle, but of course it depends on who's interpreting it. It could mean a struggle with people like me. Now, so we'll move from that anyway. As I said, the Bell Hotel has to get them out, but there'll probably be an appeal. Sigmund Khan, the radical left mayor of London, he says Muslim, or he says he is a Muslim. He says Migrants are very welcome into London, as many as he can, but they're not putting them in there. Essentially, they're letting them come in and then horse them all to conservative areas in the country areas. Bianca Jagger says she'd have millions if she could, but how many has she in her home? Zero. She has her hand in someone else's pocket. Jeremy Corbyn says Muslims are very welcome. Very welcome. But he has none in his home, neither has Sigmund Khan, neither has Bianca Jagger, all a mad left globalist socialist way of thinking that has got a grip on Britain. I often think it's a curse from the Irish, I really do. There's something wrong, there's a curse there. Imagine even unionists in the north that were banging around on the 12th of July and playing their drums, that part of their United Kingdom it's illegal to fly the English flag and the Union Jack. There's more. It's more for the English George's Cross than the Union Jack, but it's still the way. Imagine that being the case. It won't be too long till it will be illegal to fly the Irish tricolour in Ireland, and that's what Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael want. You wouldn't expect anything from Sinn Féin, but that's what Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael want, and that's what I'm trying to destroy, their vote. Now, there's 10 councils that are run by Reform UK. They did very well in the last election, and they're now talking about taking this very same court case to hit the government that they won't be allowed to bring them in, or at least allowed to use hotels and other buildings for planning purposes. We should have an organisation in Ireland well run and managed and well funded, and that's what we need to take cases like this. It must be said that the council that took in the Epping case, in the Epping case, make it the point that the Planning Act was broken in Britain, and that is the case. The Planning Act was broken. They're not objecting. They just say you cannot do that with a hotel. That's a stroke of a pen. Now, the school that had sign up about the jihadis failed to respond, but I did see a representative of the Muslim community, and he's on about balance, that we have Muslims here, there has to be balance. I wouldn't object to teaching children the actual all religions if it's done right and under control, and that there's no lies being told. And in the current climate, who's going to stop lies being told? It's impossible at the moment. In Ireland, we have less information on migrants. And I claim it's quite obvious migrants are mostly Muslims, they're mostly men, and they're coming here for the start to get the dole, to get all the goodies, and because the governments deliberately invite them in, all of them, not only those idiots in the Green Party, like O'Gorman and them, but Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. So we are trying to poison the vote for them. Now, in Ireland, I know that every council is told to get accommodation. Every council in Ireland told to get them accommodation. In fact, county council staff are flat out getting them accommodation and looking at every property to try and get for them. And no limit on finance. And people who want to move house and that fine, when they see a house they want, the government's buying it for migrants. It was on GB News that 97% of Britain's councils have been forced to take migrants, and I'd say the 3% are the ones that are maybe out in the Hebrides or in Scotland or somewhere. Now, we have a presidential election coming up. Because it's a monarchy in England, there's no such election. So it's very important that there's two issues for me on the presidential election thing, no matter who runs or not. The first, of course, is the illegality of the renewable energy plan and programme. The President should insist the Constitution be enforced. The Constitution yields to the European law that Article 3.2 of the SEA directive is the law. And the President will have to undertake, if I support them, to actually insist on that's the case. No plan or programme should be let through without it being assessed. And that way you wouldn't have the ridiculous situation of whoever's minister of the day coming up with a harebrained plan and deciding we're going to spend 180 billion on something when the same people are unable to build a children's hospital. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing then will be migration. We'll force it onto the agenda everywhere they turn. We'll make sure that candidates are asked. We'll ask them on the doorstep. We'll make them declare. So we know what we're going to have. We're going to have a Fine Gael and a Fianna Fáil candidate. I doubt if it'll be Bertie Ahern. If it's Bertie Ahern, he might be prepared to say something about migration. I don't know. If it's Heather Humphreys or that other Kelly man, Sean Kelly, for Fine Gael, they'll go for mass migration. They are mass migration loonies. Heather Humphreys has Carrickmacross destroyed with mass migration. So we'll be opposing them, even though she's only my countrywoman up the road. That's no good. We have to put the country first. So we'll be trying to force those three issues onto the agenda. Don't forget, in the referendum on the women in the home and on the marriage, the people voted overwhelmingly against the government. And so in the referendum, we'll be hoping we have a candidate who is radical right-wing like me. Well, he doesn't have to be radical. I'm extra, you know the way you're buying a vest or a shirt, it's extra, extra large. I'm extra, extra right-wing. But we'd go along with a right-wing candidate for a start, or to see who we will support. So we need to pass that around. People who agree with me, or even they don't, must tell their friends and neighbours down in the hairdressers that the issue is migration and energy, and carrying out the proper due diligence on the new renewable energy scheme, and carrying out having a plan to block migrants coming in, just as Mr. Trump is doing. Just block them. If you have to have a big force set up outside the guards, the Navy and the customs, set it up. Block them, don't let them in. You have to put some big place to house them, do. No dole, no nothing. A bit of porridge every day, bag of chips in the evening, and plenty of water until they're processed and horsed them out. We must pull away from the European Court of Human Rights, and we must hope that Reform UK will do well in Britain. But it's too late really for Britain. I think Britain is finished. I don't know what anyone that looks to Britain for guidance with Starmer, I don't know why they would want to be Britain. But in the case of Northern Ireland, we can't invite them in here because we are a woke country as well. In Britain, one station is GB News. It gets access to information requests. It gets freedom of information requests. It has the money and the time and the staff, and they're finding out great stuff, and they have the government on the run. In Ireland, we have no such body. I'd be in favour of having a fund or a national body with me having a say in the money, even though I don't like taking on work, because can you trust anyone else to handle money? I don't know. And have a fund to law the trousers off the government and the drawers off them as well, and keep up the legal thing. I still believe there is some merit in the law, but we also need to campaign. We need to make migration and energy two major points in the presidential election. Now, here in Ireland, while people struggle not able to pay their electricity bill, the politicians and the government have given themselves massive pay rises, cost of living increases for everything, massive pay rises. And this corruption goes on. We know they're not going to be easy to dislodge. However, you never know. And once we have the momentum, and once we make the effort, well, at least we have done our bit to save our country. And we can't be sure. I'm just holding this up here, folks, to cut the light out. Well, it appears that in Ireland, I'm not sure of this yet, they're planning to pull all the little concessions, budgetary concessions, to help people out, little things like living alone allowance and things like that. So that's the way it is. I stood for election. They didn't vote for me, not in enough, and there you have it. I'd be up there shouting about it now if there was anything could be done, and have been using my salary to law them. I'd probably have a case going on the renewable energy now, and I'd probably have a case going on asylum. I'd be preparing that now with my legal team. With my money, I'd have the money. And that's the way I'd have done if I had to get elected. But we can only do our best. As Donald Trump told the delegation in Washington last Monday, the 18th of August, everyone will have to do their best, and that's all anyone can do. We will do their best. People are often on to me, don't be making videos about engineering and stuff. Look, can't be every day whinging about this. It's up to us, up to all the people who support me, to find ways to defeat the corruption and the treachery of our own government And big work has been done in Britain, and I congratulate them. I think they'll get Starmer out eventually, and I think you'll have a big swing to the right. Not, they won't be far enough right for me. I'm extremely right that way, isn't it? That way, or is it this way? Right. Anyway, that's the story, folks. Comment underneath, give your opinion. It's a question of pulling more people into our way of thinking. That's it. Keep the spirits up. We have to get by. We have to survive ourselves. Our people, maybe about 250 years ago, had to see their land being taken off them by British warlords and had to put up with it and had to pay rent to them. It was very, very demeaning. And the French and the Germans before that had the Romans subjugating them. And the British had the Romans subjugating them. People sometimes have to live through oppression. We all like our freedom. But the problem is at home, over half our population are traitors and want us to be slaves. This jihadi thing has an element in it about taking slave white people and making them slaves. They're not doing a lot of harm except killing people on the street now. But wait till they get on a bit more. If J.D. Vance says the way Britain is going at the minute, it will be the first Muslim nuclear state. Nuclear armed state. Arrest me case. Comment underneath. Don't take it too serious, but bear it in mind. Spread the word around when you're meeting people. Do them down. Tell anything you like. Really, about a politician, you could nearly say anything about them. Do them down. Don't be too worried, but you don't get sued either. Just be careful what you say, I suppose. I know the law, you see, and that's the thing. We'll see you back soon, and comment underneath on the scandal of the treachery of Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and the people who vote for them. I didn't mention Sinn Féin because you just no point talking about them. They have no time for the Irish people. They love the foreigner, the hijab, the Pakistanis. I don't see too many fleeing from Europe to Pakistan or Africa. How come they're all coming in? And then they say our society is oppressive. And when we want to stop migrants coming in, we're oppressive. But there's no migrants going out the other way. Huh? How is that? Because we use our resources reasonably well and use our vote reasonably well, and we're in a temporary setback. If we can get it restored again, we won't have to argue for this. We'll be in charge again, and that's what we wanted in the freedom of our country. We'll see you back soon. Sorry for repeating myself. Not too long a video. It's less than 18 minutes. Cheerio. Bye bye.